Hello and welcome back to my garden for a potting video, something that I haven't done in quite a while here, and the pots are looking not their best. But I went to garden centers and I've prepared some really wonderful summer plants because the long weather forecast already shows that there won't be any frost anymore. So it's a good time to actually start potting up some really wonderful summer plants, and I've got some of them already here and they already indicate which color direction I'm going this year. So I've got a pelargonium in a really nice blush pink with some pink accents in here, Gaura in a pink, and I've got Osteospermum, which I really love, even in the garden, like in the borders, not only in pots, here in a creamy white. And the color concept basically comes from my existing spring pots. So I've got some pansies here, which are in a pinkish reddish tone. Then I've got still really wonderful some pink forget-me-nots here. They're flowering already for I think 5-6 weeks probably at this point, so definitely a wonderful surprise. And they're still so nice and so good. In fact, the pansies haven't even really picked up with their growth yet. I'm just adding and I'm building, so this is why I decided to go with these colors. The way on how I want to structure today's video is, first, I quickly want to show you how the situation looks here, because a lot of the pots are not looking great and I really have a lot that I need to clear. Then I quickly want to show you the plants that I have up close, so you get to see them, give you some information about every single plant we plant together, and then comes a fun part, arranging. But I'm still looking a little too well dressed, I hope, for gardening, so let me get changed and then we start. All right, here we go. This is the situation, how it looks at the moment. A lot of pots, you can tell that I don't have a lot of big pots. I really have more smaller pots because I really like to play around with them a little bit. Some are bigger, so some of those I can put 3 plants in here. As you can tell here in the first one, there's a lovely surprise. I put 3 echinacea in there in autumn. They survived winter, they are orange, and I think that when it comes back to autumn time again, it's really nice to play with the color combination of a pink and an orange. So maybe I'm going to find more echinacea this year to put in another pot. I've got a big pot there, which is lovely, and then some where you just see dead material in there. There are what was it actually? Chrysanthemum? Yeah, I want to say Astus, no, chrysanthemum. There was a panicum, which hasn't made it, unfortunately. Some osteospermum that I just left in there, and I was so busy with the rest of the garden, I had no single moment to focus on this, but today is the day to finally make it look nice again. This is what I have. I want to give you a quick close look at it. So really love these pelargoniums here. They're looking kind of dainty. They also had a bright pink, but I thought with a house, the blush color is just nicer. And the pink accent comes from the Gaura, and the Gaura, just because the flowers are smaller, they are more airy and lighter, the effect is different, and I thought it's nicer to give the pop color with the Gaura, and the rest should be a little more soft and creamy. Especially when we're heading towards summer, the light is going to be bright, and I feel that some softer colors sometimes look a little bit nicer in those conditions. Maybe that's just me. Osteospermums, I really love the color here. Creamy white, very big flowers. I'm going to be very excited to see how they're going to perform. So this is what I have: 6 pelargoniums, 6 osteospermum, 2 Gaura, because the Gaura are going to grow. So I just put 1 in a pot. And then what I have and what I'm going to keep here is, so here is a pot with the pansies. So you get to see the color. They open a little bit in a darker color, and then as they peter out or fade away, they get more creamy. This one has even a little yellow in it, which is surprising. All the others don't though. Then here I still have moss containers, which I really love, and I have them in front of garden shed too. I try and incorporate them here because they're still looking fairly good. When you do moss containers, make sure that you water them in well, and also make sure that where the sticker was, maybe you turn that to the back. Now, I just see it now when I'm filming. And here are my forget-me-nots. Really wonderful blush pink tone. I hope that they'll set seed, because I think that I want to have some of those in the garden. I don't have forget-me-nots in the garden at all, but I feel they're just so cute for spring, but they're still looking nice. So these are the pots that I'm still going to incorporate into my new pot arrangement. When it comes to the potting, there are different methods on how to do it. I just want to share with you on how I do it. And I just want to give you some ideas and tips maybe on how you can arrange pots in your own garden. The first is color. Color, everybody sees color different. Everybody likes certain colors. So the most important thing is obviously that you like it. If you go to garden centers, to more than one to select your flowers, Sometimes you have already bought a few of them in the first garden centre and then you go to the second one. To make sure that it matches, what I do is I would just nip off a bloom, for example, of the pelargonium, take it with me to the second garden centre and then match it to whatever I want to combine it with. The second thing is try and make sure that there is some sort of storyline across a season when you do pots. As I told you, I already had my spring pots, so the pansies and the forget-me-nots already started to give a first idea on where the season is going to go and how it will continue with the summer colors. What is nice here is the pelargoniums are a soft blush, but the center is a darker pink, and that darker pink is picked up again in the stems and even like in the fading flowers of the Gaura. So there is cohesion here, and I think that this is always very nice. The cream white, I think, just brightens it up. And what works very well is the house is painted light grey and white with white accents. So I think it's nice when you pick up a color from the house. Grey obviously does not exist, but the white in some of the blooms. Sometimes I like it, not always. And I feel like since the house is very bright and light, that dark, rich colors sometimes seem to get a little lost. If I see a darker color in front of a hedge or in front of a dark, like a black painted fence that I have here, it just works better than it sometimes does in front of the white house. The second thing is, when you buy your plants, always follow right plant for the right place, which obviously speaks of like soil condition. I can manipulate it here because it's pots, so you can just really buy exactly the right soil that you need for your plants. But the second thing is very important, which is sun level, or how much sun does the plant actually tolerate. And all of these are sun lovers. This has to do with the origin of all those three plants. The Pelargoniums and the Osteospermums, they both come from South Africa. With the Osteospermums, I know it because the name in German already refers to it, the common name. The Pelargoniums, I was a little surprised because for me they were always Mediterranean plants. When you're in the Mediterranean area, you see them quite often planted outside, and especially in those areas where you don't really have frost, they survive the winter and they get even woody. They form kind of small little shrubs sometimes. If you really love your Pelargoniums and you want to overwinter them, you can do that really easily in a greenhouse, even on a windowsill, even though from what I've heard, the windowsill, they might attract some light. So a greenhouse would be better. I don't have a greenhouse, so I just have them as annuals here, and that's it. All of them are sun lovers, which is good because the front entrance of the house doesn't get any sun in the morning hours, but then at lunch it's basking in the sun. So they all make ideal plant neighbors. In terms of water level, they also like similar conditions. Pelargoniums, they really don't like to sit in a puddle or when it's too moist at all. The Osteospermums, they like consistent moisture levels, same as the Gaura, but both of them don't have a problem if they would dry out. So in theory, you could plant these two even together in a pot because of the watering that would actually work. I would not combine the Osteospermum with the Pelargoniums because the Pelargoniums really like even less water. When it comes to the soil, personally, I use a multi-purpose peat-free compost from a garden centre. If you're really diligent with that, you can mix grit under it for the Pelargoniums. I don't, because I don't have a good water regime. I really happily forget to water those plants for a week or so, which is ideal for Pelargoniums. So I can just put them in here, and at one point I'll see, oh, they might probably need a good soak every now and then again. When it comes to the pot, make sure that you have a pot that obviously has a hole in the bottom, so a pot that is good for outdoors, and don't use any like indoor pot. Cover the hole with a crock, like from a broken pot, even like from a broken plate or a mug, whatever you have from indoors. If you don't happen to have a crock at all, what you can do, and this is something what I sometimes do, is I use a plastic pot. I would just cut the bottom half up and put it into the pot, or I would just like cut out a little piece here and put it in there. And the whole idea on why you do it is you don't want to block the hole which is in the pot, but you just want to make sure that the soil doesn't wash out completely. You want to make sure that the extra water can wash out, but the soil still stays in the pot. So let's do some quick potting. I've already prepared this one here. What I always do is I come in with a good handful of bone chard or bone meal. Just mix it under, and you see it's a really nice lofty garden compost that I have here. And I always leave an inch or so, so 2.5 centimeters from the brim of a pot to where the soil level starts, because if I water, I want to make sure that the water doesn't just wash out on the top immediately. I want to make sure that there is enough space so that the water can sit in the pot and soil can soak it up just nice and gently. Firm it in. Now we do it from all the sides. Plant dead level. I never really plant anything like sticking out or even in a puddle. Like bog plants, if you have bog plants in your garden, they can sit a little lower normally. That's all right if you plant them in a normal garden soil even too. So let's just get the last one in. And the important thing is, once you're done with your planting, water them in fairly well, because you want to make sure that the roots and the soil from the pot that you bought it in, is in contact with the fresh garden soil in this pot here, so that the plants can root out. Also, always check how the roots of the plants are looking. These are annuals. Normally they wouldn't be pot bound. Pot bound basically means that the roots in a pot are growing round and round, and they're a big tangle. They can't even grow outwards anymore. Then you want to break them loose. But here, this is not the case, also not with the osteos. They have more thinner and fibrous roots, so they look really nice and strong and healthy. This is also one last hint that I want to give you. If you buy a plant in the garden center, don't only look on the top growth, just pop it out of its container and see how do the roots look. They're not rotten, they are definitely strong, they are vigorous, and they are not pot bound, and the roots hold the soil of the container together. So absolute perfect plant. Unfortunately, a lot of plants here are not labeled, so I wish I could tell you the exact name of what I bought here. I can't. They are just nice, so let's enjoy them. I'm going to continue, pot up everything, clean these first, pot up and then arrange a little. That's it, I'm ready and I'm really loving it. I generally think it is very important to make sure that the entrance area of your house is looking nice, because you get to see it every single time when you come back home, and it's very inviting. And when you see fresh flowers like this, it automatically creates a smile on your face. A few more things. One thing I forgot to say is actually the Gaura had a label, and it is from the polar bear collection. And Gaura does not come from South Africa. It is from the south of the United States, actually from the border area of the United States and Mexico. So still all these flowers like to grow in very much the same conditions. Another thing that I just want to quickly say and mention is that when you look at my pots, I don't have an abundance of different pots in terms of color and texture. As a matter of fact, I only have two. I've got these clay pots here, and then I've got wicker pots. And yes, they are not exactly the same, because the brim, the height, everything is a little different, but in theory, they are the same, and they take the backstage. You know, the flowers, they get to shine here, and the pots are just a lovely addition. Even though you can play with some color pots too if you wanted to. So you can even work with complementary color. So have a blue pot and orange flowers or yellow flowers in it, and it's going to look really fun and bright, and it's just a little different vibe to what I'm doing here. Also make sure that you try and use different kind of flower shapes. So the Pelargoniums, they are more like balls, like spheres a little bit. Then you've got the feathery effect from the Gaura in the back there, and then these big daisy flowers from the Osteospermum. So even in a pot garden, make sure that you don't play with the colors, but also with the textures and the size of your blooms. That's it for today's video. Alfie's a little nervous because she came with a stick. And now obviously she doesn't want to cuddle, she wants to play. So there you go. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I hope that you could take some inspiration out of it and maybe feel encouraged to do some pots on your own and really go to the garden centres and buy some first beautiful summer plants, some new colour, because I think it's very important and vital to have this wonderful area right at the entrance of your house. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Thank you for subscribing to my channel or giving me a thumbs up or leaving a comment here. And we're very happy to welcome you very soon again. So take care, guys. Bye.